firework butt.
We are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. We're canceling Wes as we start. How's it going, everybody? We are on our 14th session.
14th session, cool.
If you guys getting caught up, this is a fun place to jump in. Because we're getting near the end, but you can go back and watch everything over on our YouTube channel or here on Twitch. We are going to jump right into play, though. Jason, why don't you take us in?
Yeah, so we have one more active threat at this point before we have to confront Mrs. Brathwaite. That active threat is the King in Shadows. I'll remind you that this is... there's a play that is put on in a different place it periodically moves around the city. And right now it's located in these tunnels beneath the city, these sort of like tunnels that are the partial construction of the tube that will become the tube system. And so you know the location of the play, you've watched the play, and you need to stop the play because the play is causing rifts in reality to take place all over the city. It's creating this like weird, almost like miasma of like artistic and creative madness that is just taking over the city, which doesn't actually sound too bad now that I say it out loud, but but it's creating this like situation in the city that's very, very dangerous. And you have a question that's going to help you resolve this threat, which is, what roles are you intended to perform in the play? And here, I think this can be like a collective role that like Hargrave House is meant to play, or it could be your individual roles. We know a lot about the play and it's the way it's typically performed, and the characters who are in it, but maybe you're meant to play some other role in the play. You are going to, if you answer the question correctly, you are going to be able to resolve the threat by playing out this role during the play's next performance, ending in the tragic fall of the occluded king, or by breaking out of this role and ruining the production itself, thereby returning order to London. So that is the situation with the King in Shadows. It's a complexity 6, and you actually have 5 clues remaining on this one. We'll review the clues whenever you get ready to answer the question, but you're pretty close. I think if you do a couple of vulnerable moves, you should be able to get enough clues to get this taken care of. But well, and you might want to like get a jump on getting this done because this threat is on a timer, and this night phase is.
I do appreciate you reminding us of that right before the stream because I totally forgot that was a thing.
It's on a timer. You have one more night phase. If you do not resolve the threat by the end of the next night phase, that's it. The occluded king enters the world. The campaign immediately ends. So
I also say we do have a floating clue that is currently not assigned to a mystery, but I don't remember if the King in Shadows is in play when we earned it or not.
Well, you can still use it, right? Okay. What is the floating clue?
It is intricate sigil that had been tattooed across the back of a dead body pulled from the river, and Knox has added it to his book of tattoos.
Oh yeah, I would definitely apply it to this one. Since there are no other active threats. Okay, so then functionally you have 6 clues. Okay, that's great. So yeah, or is it 5? What am I counting here? 1, 2, 3. No, it's 6, right?
Yeah. 8 found, 5 explained. So yeah, I don't think it's taken that new one in yet. So
into consideration.
Yeah,
it should be 6. Fantastic. Let's do check in with the hunters though. So I always like to check in via conditions. Langfisk, you're doing okay. Dr. Aspectum, you have Most Beloved as always, and The Nature of Life and Death still. Lord Grey has He's in My Head. Hopefully it's not the occluded king that ends up in your head. And Septimus Redding has The Gossamer Realm, Marked by Greco, and Court of Wolves. You got a lot going on there, Septimus. I would love for you to take some of those into the final confrontation with Theodora, but you don't have to. If you want to try to clear some of these in the day phase, the vulnerable move is your best option. I will remind you that even though it's not a capital T threat, the Coven is in London and could be a problem for you all as you get ready to confront both the King in Shadows and Mrs. Brathwaite. So that's where things stand. I think I want to go around the table and find out what everyone is interested in doing for this day phase. And let's get cracking. I'm going to start with Lord Grey.
Well, one question. Do we know about the coven yet, or is this just sort of, are they just there and we know in a meta
I
way?
I think Tim, you probably sense them, but I'm not sure you otherwise know that they're in town. Yeah.
Okay, well then that's not my problem. I'm gonna go deal with some more. I think, it doesn't hurt to do a King in Shadows thing. And also, if anybody needs a vulnerable move, I'm looking at all of you. I'm here. So I'm gonna let other people pick so we can vibe and see who needs to do what.
Well, Septimus has the most conditions, so we'll kind of put this on you in terms of vulnerable moves, Septimus. What do you think?
I mean, I would love another Gray Tim vulnerable move.
Let's do it.
Anybody go?
Be thinking about whose vice is going to be in play, what the scene looks like, and we'll get it framed up. Knox, you and Hope are there in Hargrave House. What's your day look like?
I think this is so I mean I think at this point I would be aware the lurker has not been around also
Yeah,
too.
we'll say it's been a couple of days since the events of the last time.
So
Yeah.
if there, I mean, as I recall, the lurker was like being physically and bodily dragged out of the house, and the lurker is very strong, or was being pulled out of the house, their entire body, and
By
was
magic,
resisting.
yeah.
So there's probably a little bit of, even over the last couple of days, kind of
Maybe you've been looking into it. Maybe you saw the scratches on the
looking into it,
cobbles or something.
Yeah, I think we see, and so I think there is probably just the plan for a day kind of out and about trying to figure out what has happened.
What happened? Yeah, I like that. That feels like a good move. Langfisk, what's your day look like?
Langfisk is going to try to track down another place where the play previously happened. Because we can't go to the fucking pub because it's a nighttime only thing.
Well, so here's the thing. It's in the papers, the night tap. The reason why is because the part where the night tap, like the little alleyway where the night tap appears, the sun can't touch it for some reason. It's perpetually cloaked in dark, another effect of the King in Shadows. And this is among all the other crazy things going on in London, this is like something that people are like freaking out about. Like it's they just chalk it up to some sort of weird like, cosmological occurrence, but what's really going on.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the night tap then. And I think I'm going to bring a date. I'm going to try to bring Elsie Willow
I like it.
of my Hargrave House Informals because she's pretty good with crowds, especially pub crowds. And so, let's see if she'll
let's
go
roll it
on
now.
with me.
Yeah, let's roll it up. Let's
Perfect.
roll the move and see how that
Oh,
goes.
shit. I can't find my Solemn Veil dice that I just recently acquired, so let's use some other ones. Oh, goodness gracious. 2d6. All right, it's a d10. All right, let's use this Cthulhu die. Why not? What's the worst that could happen?
Feels appropriate for this particular threat. So
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to be rolling with presence. I'm also going to offer a pearl to her.
Oh.
The pearl, don't think about it, of like, look, I know you don't do things for free and everything. You got to make a living and everything. So I'll throw in this weird pearl if you do show up to get advantage on this roll.
let's do it.
Daddy. Daddy, we love to see it. Plus presence. That is a 5 and a 5 plus 1. That is an 11.
Nice. You're really close to a 12. If you bump it up, not only will she show up, but she'll give you a clue too.
Yeah, let's yeah, I'll go ahead and
Or
bump it
or
up.
helpful information or a clue. But yeah, I'll tell you it's a clue. So
Yeah, we don't have a mask for this, do we?
you
King
do
Jet?
actually. It's called the Mask of Dissociation, I think.
Each hunter narrates a time they felt like a stranger in their own body. Okay, I'll save that one. I'll save that one for just in case. But I'll go ahead and mark one of my other masks here, which is I'm marking the Darkened Threshold.
Nice.
Ooh.
Found on any podcast.
Podcast player of your
providers that-
choice, except for Stitcher. So.
Exactly, except for Stitcher. Rest in peace, Stitcher. Damn.
The Stitcher people hate us because we've
yeah.
like never put our shows on Stitcher.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Narrate a scene in which you commit a terrible act of violence in order to help your employer or punish one of their enemies. So I'll just hold on to that one in my little pocket when it becomes dramatically.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we'll have a scene with Elsie in a bit. Let's get this vulnerable move going. Whose Vice is in play? What does the scene look like? Who's framing this up for us?
Well, my beautiful friend Tim, it's either we're gonna have ghost sex again or you accept a cocaine cigarette from me.
I'll take a cocaine cigarette. We've fucked a lot this season, and I
We
think
have.
we've gotten closer and never had a date. So I don't know what that says about either of our characters. Or
You're not
attachment styles.
demisexual?
What?
I mean, correct. So correct. Not these cats. Mm-mm. We'll go on a real date. No, it's not a real date. Lord Grey doesn't go on dates. But we can hang out and smoke some cocaine and cigarettes at where are the other places that we haven't been that have to do with the King in Shadows? Have we been everywhere?
You've been to all the named locations, but I can roll with pretty much anything.
Yeah,
so
because
just-
it's also kind of taken over the city at this
the whole
point.
city. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
happening all over.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it's like going out and trying to like, I know narratively we can't go to the place where it's happening again, but like in actuality, just trying like scoping out where we think the next one is.
Yeah.
Like, and trying not to trip over any dead bodies on the way.
Fantastic. So, I'm sorry. Say again. What was the Vice in play?
Mine, cocaine.
Cocaine. Very good. So you were so presently. Then you're just on the way to some place, or
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Vyn? Like taking a hansom cab ride or like walking? Either way, because like the streets of London are fucking bananas right now.
Yeah, the last time they took a walk, though,
Things went bad.
yeah. So, cab, please. Get these bitches a cab.
Okay, I think we could. Yeah, let's go to a cab. Let's get in a cab, and we're on our way to. You know what? I'm gonna let you just pick a place, Jason. Anywhere that unless you want to pick a place, Vyn.
Oh no, I was making a face like I didn't want to pick.
Oh, good. Okay, I don't want to pick
how
either.
about why don't we go to? I think it would be fun. Let me think. I think it would be really fun if there has been like, in association with the King in Shadows, which has a lot of like Greek mythology and Hades, like kind of like, kind of symbology and stuff going on. I think that like along the Thames, which is a river, there
Like
are
the
these,
sticks.
there are these like, these like little like not performances, but like little displays or like people getting together and like reenacting like psychopomp like journeys along the Styx, on the Thames. I think that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I almost don't want to fix this problem. Like I almost want to just sort of let it happen because
Yeah, I know.
kind
Like
of-
the city is
I'm
kind of
digging
cool.
the
Yeah.
vibe. Like this is kind of my scene. I don't know. But that's what we're
We get
up to.
Umbrella Academy season for this. Spoiler.
I have not. I know it was a controversial ending. I have not seen it. So fantastic. Let's have the. Why don't we just like fast forward to you all like at one of these like little, like sort of journeys along the Styx. I think that would be pretty incredible. Because there's all kinds of stuff going on, and the police have lost control of it, and I don't think it's going to be any trouble at all to do a little bump while you're walking along the Thames with people wearing black robes and pale death masks. You're muted, B.
Oh, I said gorgeous. Sorry. I just got excited about it. It's just what a vibe.
The scene is yours.
I think like I've given you one already from like in the cab. Like and if you finished it or not, I will offer you a second. I have already finished one and am on my second. But actually, and like it's kind of heinous because he's framed this as like going and investigating, but he's clearly enjoying himself. Like clearly this is like kind of rad to them. Like this is, this isn't all bad, I don't think. Look at this. That's kind of impressive, you know?
I mean, given visually above the surface, very nice, very clean as far as clean can be. But knowing that this is against most people's will and they might die, and
I mean, have we really discerned that it's against their will? Or is this some sort of like, oh, you always wanted to do this and now you're free to do it kind of thing? Like, is it some sort, have we actually discerned that?
yeah, my lord, possibly just pick one person and study their face. Just look beyond the performance, look into their souls, and see if they really want to be doing this right now.
I mean, you know, I don't care to do that with people that I don't know or care about. That's a lot I mean, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, aren't you?
I don't think so. Not this time.
No. This is one
No,
of your...
I'm not the one making any assumptions. I think I'm factually correct in my observations.
Is this one of your little spooky talents, or are you just sort of deducing?
No, this is common sense.
Well, I'm just saying, there's multiple perspectives here. I'm not saying I like the man, or whatever it is. I'm just saying, it's not black and white.
Well, how about this? If you enjoy this festival of culture so much, maybe you can put some funds towards it once we solve this king of nonsense.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Maybe we all could. Maybe we could pitch in his Hargrave house and do some sort of charity work. Be great.
Oh, I think would be quite nice.
Oh, you really mean it?
Yes, I'm being very serious here.
You are always so serious, my friend.
No, I'm always
No.
serious. No,
No.
no.
No. The only times I haven't seen you so, I don't know, like this, have been when we've been fucking. That's it.
Cherry tomato red. Shoulders up. I don't know how you could say that so casually.
Well, it was casual. I mean, would you prefer me use a different term? I'm sure there's plenty.
I would be better if you didn't mention it at all.
Oh.
Not to say think nothing of it, but we're in public. This is not a place for comedy. We should be enjoying the art while it lasts.
You think any of these people care what we're saying right now? Fuck you! Terrible!
Let's talk about those people. They are wearing cowls and robes, and they're sort of like very glumly, solemnly proceeding in a line along the bank of the Thames. And there are people who are traveling with the group playing very like dissonant droning horns. It sounds a little bit like it's kind of an Inception vibe, like wah. And And there is one person at the very head of the group who is not dressed like them, who is sort of dressed like they're sort of dressed like in a tunic, and their body is rubbed with silver. They are meant to represent Hermes, the psychopomp, and they're kind of, leading the group, and they're occasionally like letting out chants, and they occasionally like it goes down the line, and all of them like declare aloud like how they lost their life and what they regret, what they never got to accomplish in life, but now they must go travel to the underworld. And then it gets to you to like call out your regrets. Do you?
Oh shit. I think like it's like a minute before like Bastion even realizes that it's either one of their turns. Like it's like a turn thing. And kind of looks at Tim like it's interactive. After you.
No, please, in terms of gentry and you first, Lord Grey.
Oh, my friend Tim. If this is in terms of gentry and who's in charge, then I get to decide. You go first,
Oh, you've toppled me once more.
obviously.
I regret not writing to my family more. Woe is
Oh.
me.
Come on. That's it.
I think I'm going to just announce my sorrows in public. Absolutely not.
I don't know. All right, fine. Oh God, what do I regret? I don't think I have one. I regret coming here not knowing this was an interactive performance.
Fantastic. We'll come back to the scene. Dr. Spectum, you, after a couple of days of the lurker not being in the bell tower like he usually is, it seems like maybe you've come to the conclusion that something happened to him, and I'll just go ahead and give you that you might see the sort of like gouges in the cobble of small hands that were dragged across the cobbles. There was some strength in those hands, ancient vampire, remember, but clearly he was dragged away against his will. What do you do?
I think we see Nox and Hope kind of in parallel take a deep sip of coffee as they kind of take this scene in out on the porch. Hope, everyone else is busy. What would you say to just a day out on the town looking for the lurker?
Hope says, "He was your father, just like you are my father. He was your father?"
No, no. The lurker? No. He's a friend, but not my father.
And you can tell that she's had some kind of fundamental misunderstanding about the dynamics in the house, and she takes this into consideration. And
Like
she
an
says,
uncle?
"Who is your father?"
Oh, my father, he died when I was about your age. But there was a man named Charles who cared for me and was like a father to me. He is the one who taught me about life, who was there for me. I'm sure my father would have been wonderful. Certainly his estate provided for everyone. So, the lurker is like Uncle Bastion or Uncle Langfisk, or like Tim. They are older people who care about you, sometimes for their own reasons, but they can be trusted, and the lurker can be trusted. But not every adult can be. Most adults can't be.
Very interesting. She nods. You can tell that she's processing all of this in her way, and she sets out to follow you to wherever you're going to go look for the lurker. Where do you go?
So we know that a little while ago, I'd kind of been approaching what was happening in the city with a sense of like, what if there was an illness or an outbreak? And had been thinking about where that would kind of lead us. We've got the King in Shadows. We have a general sense of what we think. I guess that's a good question. So mechanically, or
It could just be
fictionally,
like from your perspective, it might just be a hysteria, right?
Right.
I mean,
but
yeah.
from the well, I think he was going with like he understands enough about it to think there is some sort of ocular physical response that is happening to whatever people are saying. Like he's still approaching it scientifically, but with his broad understanding of science, the role we made about the conclusion that is where our players are at, correct? Like we all share that kind of understanding theoretically as players as characters at this point, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I am. Play is coming. I'm gonna head to the two places I want to go by. Are I forget the name. The place where the Waitley camera was, the Society Obscura.
Oh, Society Obscura, yeah.
I want to kind of swing by there on my way towards where we think the tubes are being built. Like it is going to be kind of checking on one potential location while headed towards another location.
Okay, I'm into that. I think as you are walking toward the Society Obscura, we cut away to a scene somewhere dark, lit only by a single candle. We see a group of people wearing heavy black veils over their faces. And one of them takes out from beneath their veils a porcelain doll that is a very accurate rendering of you, Dr. Aspectum. And they're holding the doll, and then they begin to turn the doll in circles, around and around and around and around. And you find very quickly that you and Hope are lost in the city. You knew the way to get to the Society Obscura, but you thought you did. You keep ending up in places you don't expect to be. You keep ending up in parts of the city that you don't even recognize. And you can't even get back to Hargrave House. You're going to have to figure out how to not get lost in this labyrinth of the Coven's making. What do you do?
I think for the first little bit, Knox assumes it's his own kind of tendency to not pay attention to non-essential details that has led him astray. It's probably the third time where he realizes something is not quite right. And he kind of reaches down and pats Hope's shoulder and buys her a treat from a local stall, and takes a moment and reaches down into his pocket, and he pulls out just a fistful of these small wedding bands that he has tucked away. And he starts every time they get to a corner, just wedging one of them into a crack. Not worried that they won't be seen eventually, but where they won't be seen immediately. And really starts to kind of box himself in so he can only go one direction, figuring if I can't figure out how to get home and I can't figure out where I'm going, well, I need to figure out how to get somewhere. And as long as I keep on going in a straight line, I will eventually make it out of whatever this is.
I like it. I think this is going to be the day move with reason. What do you afraid is going to happen if this plan doesn't work?
I am afraid, I think at this point, I think I'm more afraid that Hope will be lost in this maze with me. Like if I can get her out, I'm not particularly concerned. Like, I can figure out how to make it by for the next little bit, but if she gets stuck in here, I don't know that that'll be good for her.
Okay. Let's get dice on the table, then we're going to check in with Langfisk.
I'm gonna go ahead and mark my bucket full of wedding rings.
Nice.
'Cause I got a lot of items here.
Use them up.
That'll make it a 12 all day.
Nice. Good. Fantastic. I'll give you a clue as you're wandering around through the city, trying to work your way out of this strange instant labyrinth that you've been dropped in the middle of. Langfisk. Elsie shows up, and she's actually not coming with a clue. I know I said that, but I think I've got something you'll like even better. As you are walking to the night tap, she says, I've actually heard something, Langfisk, about this place.
Oh yeah, what's that?
I've heard the people who are in that play that you've been so interested in, I heard the performers hang out in a secret room inside that strange pub.
And you gotta get me in there, are you, mate?
I don't think we'll have any trouble getting in. I'm pretty good at getting into places, as you well know.
Oh, trust me, I've had more than enough coins nicked from my pocket to know that you're really good at getting to places there, love.
Speaking of which, what is the payment going to look like for this little excursion today?
Gonna go ahead and reach in my pocket. Hold up. It looks like a D6 because it's a D6, but a pearl. And just hold up this like weird looking pearl
Well,
that still glimmers, even though there's not like a lot of like in this alleyway, there's not a lot of light. Just goes, that seemed keen enough for you there, love.
she kind of raises an eyebrow and she says, who'd you steal that from?
That was a gift, I'll tell you. Don't
Oh.
worry about it. It was found. It was provided to me by somebody else, all right? Is it not good enough for you? I can go ahead
She
and take it back.
snatches it out of your hand, and you arrive at the night tap, and as you've heard, the sun won't pierce that alleyway. That alleyway is perfectly dark. They even have a gas lamp on. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? It gives me the creeps.
I've had places like this. I've experienced some of them as well, but not as up close and personal like this. What's
You've been
what's that, love?
you've been in places like this where the sun doesn't shine?
Have you ever been to Eastern Europe?
She says, "Oh, your droll humor, Mr. Langfisk."
I come from a land where there's sun always shining, love, and it shines quite a bit long time, longer than you'd experience it here. I mean, it's a lot of talk coming from you folks over here in the Crown, the Kingdom, where it's like, what is it, rainy all the time, foggy a little bit. They don't
It's
call
not
it
my
foggy.
kingdom. And she heads into that dark alley.
What a woman.
Do you go with her?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you get in the alley, you see the little entrance to the pub. It's at the back of the alley. It's a very simple looking pub. When you go inside, it would be pretty ordinary, completely unremarkable as far as pubs go, if not for the fact that it's at the rear of a alley that's perfectly dark in the middle of the day, and also it disappears in the day normally. And also, all of the patrons, and there are many of them, are just sitting there wearing featureless gold masks. They have all their regular clothing, but they're wearing these gold masks. And they're smoking, they're drinking. The masks have, just the lower halves exposed. The air is smoky, reeking of beer. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Being on the night tap feels like being unstuck in time. What do we experience that makes it seem that way?
There's a Touch Tunes jukebox in the corner.
Nice.
There's some distinctly ancient Roman architecture just like embedded into the wall, almost as if it clipped through, and it looks pristine.
There is a table of famous historical individuals from wars all playing poker with each other from different time periods, sitting at the table in a different corner.
There's a digital clock on the wall, but the clock is broken.
Isn't this the strangest place you've ever seen, Mr. Langfisk?
Yeah, I'll see, love. You know how I was telling you about how I've been in a lot of places like this. I don't think I've ever been in a place like this before.
Look at the dress that woman is wearing in the corner. Look how short it is. You can see her knees.
Jeez Louise. Let me get you something else, seeing that we can start working the crowd. We can figure out exactly what the purpose of this place is. And you can see he's just staring at the calves, the woman's calves, and just like, jeez. I love this place.
That's good. We'll come back to this. Let's pick back up on the scene on the Thames. With the call and response goes further down the line. You're no longer you're no longer required to participate. But I do want to talk about which conditions you might be angling to remove here.
Tim, which one are you angling to remove here?
I mean, given the performance, could I try to angle the Gossamer realm since we're transitioning psychopomp shit?
I love it. Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, like you're kind of symbolically, kind of transitioning through realms. I think that's pretty intriguing. Do you want to try to get rid of He's in My Head?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's too fun for this particular thing. If it goes badly, I want it to go
Yeah.
in a fun way.
Do you want the clue, or do you want to invite the question?
I think we're here for clues, honestly, unless Vyn just has like a burning question.
No, I think we're clue hungry.
Yeah, we're clue hungry. We hungry.
Be thinking about your clue, but before that, we cut away and we see those veiled individuals in their dark room again. And all of them, there's several of them, they all hold their hands out. Their hands come out from behind the black veils, and they have marionette strings in their hands. The strings aren't connected to anything. You just see them moving their hands around as if they were controlling invisible puppets. And the two of you, well, really just Lord Grey. They don't seem to be interested in Septimus. Lord Grey, these robed, white-faced people, they're starting to get a little too close for comfort. They're starting to insert themselves between you and Septimus. They're starting to turn and face you. They're starting to, in unison, raise their ceremonial daggers, those that have them, or rocks if they don't, or large sticks, and their movements are very jerky and they have like looks in their eyes like they can't control what's going on, like they don't know what's happening. Lord Grey, what do you do?
At first, affronted that they are getting so close. How dare they? And then get between me and my companion. And is clearly trying to, like, not interrupt whatever this, like, performance art is, because he assumes it is until they start literally threatening him with daggers, and he goes, oh, God, this again. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. And just tosses the cigarette on the ground and is like, let's go. Let's go. That's it. I've seen enough. Not doing this again.
Septimus, you've seen magic like this. This looks like something you've seen before. This is a marionette hex. What do you do?
This is completely in character because I'm stupid. Tim, she's going to like approach these people and is kind of like try to examine the magic, if any.
Because you are such a sensitive individual, I will tell you that you can see the gossamer strings coming up off of their arms and hands. They are being controlled by something.
Can I try to like pull one or like pull one off of someone?
Yeah, I think so. What are you hoping to accomplish?
Again, this is just completely in character and this character is stupid. I would like to try to communicate through the string, like physically putting it in my mouth and talking into it.
Damn, that's good.
I love it. That's very interesting. Is this going to be Rites of Salt and Smoke?
You know what? It can be.
Let's see if you're giving. I mean, is this a perversion of Christian rituals
I
somehow?
don't think so though. I can't think of.
I mean, if you want me to lean in here and help a little bit, I could
mean,
pitch.
putting
Yeah,
the-
I'll phone a friend. How
The
can...
body and the brain. Yeah, phone a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we think, Tony?
I love I love you take the like we see for a second you like puff deeply on the cocaine cigarette, and all of a sudden like we see almost an unnatural expansion of your your cheeks and your chest. So like anytime there's a thing called incensing the altar, right? So this would be a thing that you do before you read scripture. So before you proclaim something, and normally it's like you like do it 3 times. And so I think like we see you take this large inhale, we see you take another, like you're taking smoke in, instead. And then on the last one, we see this gossamer strand detach and the smoke travel back up the strand.
It's so eerie. I love it.
The human bearable. Yeah.
That's
pretty
so
great.
cool.
Let's roll the roll. Rats of Salt and Smoke, you are going to roll with sensitivity here.
Okay, big money, no whammies. Oh, okay, that is a, wait, let me count. 1, 2, plus 3. That's an 11.
Nice. You get to choose your effect. Think about what you want your effect to be. While you're doing that, Lord Grey, some of these people are, I mean, they're kind of attacking you. They're trying to like
Jesus Christ.
stab you, bludgeon you. What do you do?
Yeah, well, first, I'm like expecting Tim to come with me. And then this motherfucker just starts doing stuff really close to one. And I'm like, everybody I know is an idiot. Everybody I know is an idiot. And I think that, yeah, I was looking at the things I have. I don't got a lot. And so I think I'm just gonna straight up try to grab a dagger out of somebody's hand and you know, keep him back, because clearly Tim's doing something.
This is
And
the day move. What are you afraid is
Oh,
going to
it's-
happen if you fail?
I'm afraid they're gonna stab me in
Yeah,
the face.
okay.
That'd be terrible.
That would be terrible.
My money
Go ahead and
maker.
roll with Vitality.
Yes, vitality, baby.
A 5. We will come back to this. Knox, I owe you a clue. Something you will have observed while you are mastering this strange situation that you and Hope have been put in. Let me find something for you. Something you're noticing, it's kind of connected to what's going on at the night tap, is you will notice that shadows lengthen and point in a particular direction, heedless of the sun's position. I'll drop that in chat for you. I am curious, like, what you do or how you observe that, how you notice that, like, or maybe even what is Hope? Maybe Hope helps you figure that out somehow. What do you think?
I love that. I actually like the idea of like just that uncanny giggle, like the peel of a child who like doesn't know they shouldn't be laughing at something and just oh, their shadows are funny. Just bringing my attention to it. I actually even like that as like I'm doing this ring thing, right? And it's kind of guiding me on a path, but that mixed with the fact that the shadows are orienting differently, kind of being how the triangulation like starts to take place, like kind of an inverse sundial effect of like if they are pointing this way, that is a constant source of direction that we can also use as another point. But yeah, I think it is just the childlike innocence of seeing something odd and bringing attention.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. Langfisk, the barman who also wears a gold mask, says, "Howdy, friend."
I know who this is. Okay, I don't fuck. Okay, I Langfist does it though. I'm gonna be like, can I? You got a yank running this establishment, mate?
Where are you from?
I'm far away, just far away. Get on a boat and go past, where you're probably from, mate, and just keep going, and then you're probably going to shipwreck on it. And if you find a bunch of miserable cunts hanging around the coastline, well then, that's where I'm from.
I thought you were going to tell me to put another shrimp on the barbie or something.
What?
Well, your whole
So-
crocodile, your whole crocodile Dundee thing. It's it's very
You know
thick.
my mate
The
Dundee.
accent. You don't think it's a little heavy?
A little heavy, mate. This is.
Is that really how you talk? It doesn't even seem like a real accent. It feels like a joke.
Are you gonna pour me a drink, or am I gonna have to?
Yeah, okay. I don't want you to,
I don't want to have to cause a mess in this weird establishment you got here, mate.
Yeah, no problem, partner. And he goes and pours you a drink. They weirdly have the drinks like in a, you wouldn't recognize, like a tap,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, the tap. Oh god. Just staring at it and like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Yeah. So, what kind of clientele you typically getting here, mate?
All sorts of weird types, I suppose.
Thespians?
Define thespians.
Like, strange blokes and lasses that just hang out in the shadows and they recite Shakespeare to each other, Typically, by the time they have a couple of glasses of claret in them, they start making out in the corners and everything.
I'm afraid I can't. I can't talk about that. That
Ah.
subject is off limits.
Is that part of the rules around here?
Even an establishment like this, has to have rules.
That's what separates us from the animals, doesn't it? Okay, what can you tell me? Where did this place come from? Are you the owner? Is this just
You can
give
do the information move with
yeah
presence, I guess.
presents?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That is a 9.
Hmm. I think that. I mean, Elsie's already told you that the actors meet here in a secret room, right? And as I think, like, he gave away kind of where that secret room might be because he like kind of looked down, like he was like look like when he said like I'm not supposed to talk about that, and he kind of looked down, but then like quickly looked back up. There's something like down below, down beneath his feet that he kind of doesn't want to draw attention to, but he's clearly drawn attention to. That's not your clue, but that is kind of where we're going to start.
Look, mate, if I have to do a whole little song and dance. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge?
Right. Listen. I can tell you what you want to know. But if I do, there's a chance that he will overhear us. And I don't think you want to take that chance. You got squelched, Wes. We can't hear you.
Okay. Well then, mate, I'm gonna tell you something. You don't have to tell me jack or shit. Just get me down where I need to go.
He nods. And he says, that pretty lady you brought in with you tonight, is she, available?
You mean, is she working?
Oh, she's she's a professional.
Absolutely. And she's worth every penny. And I'm sure with the kind of clientele you've got around here, I'm sure you're raking in all the pences that you can.
No one actually ever pays for their drinks.
Well, I hope you're as good as a charmer as you are pouring drinks.
And he kind of like, he smiles beneath, you can see his smile. That's the only part of the, that's exposed from the mask. And he says, I'm going to come around front. I'm going to come around front from the bar. I'm going to go walk over there to that booth and talk to your lady friend. If you want to go around and, have a look around down below while I'm not looking, well, that would be on you, not me, right?
Absolutely. I heard you had a killer rat problem, mate. Good thing I'm a rat catcher.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. It's great. And he comes around and he's going to go talk to Elsie.
I'm gonna go ahead and like give some proper time while he talks, and I'm gonna slip behind the bar. And before I start making my way down, I'm just gonna look one more time at the weird tap thing. And I'm gonna put the mug underneath and pour more, and then drink, and then set it down, and then let's get to work.
You have I actually owe you a clue.
Okay.
And your clue is, as you go back there, you'll see that there is a quote written on the wall behind the bar. It's a line from Lysistrata. There is no beast more stubborn than a woman, and neither fire nor leopard is more ruthless. I put that in chat. And I think here I'd like to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. We'll come back, see how things go for Lord Grey and Septimus, and kind of start wrapping up this day phase so we can get this question answered.
It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. We'll be back in just about 5 minutes, though, to keep on playing The Between.
Later.
And we are back to continue playing the Between here on +1 EXP. Jason, take us in.
Lord Grey, it's not good. They first, one of these individuals, the mere fact that it shouldn't maybe be surprising at this point that you are trying to wrestle a knife away from one of these individuals and doing a very bad job at it.
No, it's my
Um,
track record, and
they
it's
don't
never
even
gonna stop me.
they don't even have good like motor control over their bodies, and they still overpower you. One of them knocks your legs out from underneath you, and then the one that you were trying to grab the knife from like dives down on top of you. Fortunately for you, it's just a prop knife. It doesn't actually like slice at your throat as they are hitting you with it. They're just kind of like hitting up against your throat. So they change tactics and they start to use the hard plastic to try to pluck out your eye. There is a couple of jabs because they don't have great control over their hands, but they eventually manage to get the blade right underneath and probably by more luck than anything, push their weight. They fall their weight down on top, and we just hear a sickening pop as your eye is ejected from the socket. But because it's not sharp, it's just dangling from the cord out of your skull.
Thank goodness.
And Septimus, what are you doing right now?
Blowing smoke.
Are you in a trance? Are you even aware of any of this?
I want to be. I just want to get out. Who are you? With the connection with the strand. But if I see that shit going on, I gotta get his eye back in the skull.
I mean, unless B is marking a mask here.
I was planning on it, but I wanted to hear what Septimus was up to real quick before I decided to. I just normally I'm like, let's go with it, but this is my face. This is my face.
Your bread and butter.
My
This is
one
my
thing.
face.
I'm gonna mark.
I
a
think you
mask.
look quite striking with an eye patch, personally.
I
But
would, I think so.
little
Me
L
the
driver
player.
action. Yeah.
Yeah, me the player thinks that, but Lord Grey is too vain to do that. So we're gonna mark. The darkened threshold feels really right here.
What does the text of that one say?
Narrate a scene in which people treat you like you're nothing special.
Oh, is that what's happening right now?
I
No,
feel like it's happening right now. No,
no.
save
We'll
that.
we'll get a scene, but so you're going to succeed. I think I'm just going to give you like you'll be able to like grab the knife and kind of escape and kind of hold them at bay a little bit, right?
Realize it's a prop knife after I grab it and be so pissed.
Of course, it's just entirely a comedy of errors because you're not threatening anyone.
No.
But they stop attacking because the coven is more interested in what's going on with Septimus. Septimus, who is inhaling the smoke, inhaling the marionette strings, or plucking the marionette strings, or whatever that was that you all described. What is the effect that you want, Septimus?
That is a good question. I mean, either do one thing beyond human limitations or communicate with someone or something I don't share a language with. I know we pretty much speak English, but to be able to communicate.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think we can combine those two to come up with a good solution here. What we think is happening. What are you trying to do? Do you want to communicate with them directly?
Yes.
And here I have to ask you, sort of out of character, if we were doing the threat version of the Coven, we would be exploring this grand ritual that the Coven is trying to achieve, which the vessel is sort of central or a part of, and the Coven needs get their hands on the vessel in order to complete the ritual. I would like for you to be thinking about what that ritual is, what they might be trying to do, why they might need you. We have learned a lot about, these people are your family, that you are the seventh son of the seventh son, and all that stuff. But I want to know like what they hope to accomplish. Like what are they trying to actually get done here? Meanwhile, Knox, I'll give you one more scene once you and Hope get out of this sort of ad hoc labyrinth. What do you do?
Where do we find ourselves when we get out of this ad hoc labyrinth?
I think you just kind of like, I think you just end up back at Hargrave House.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
If I was going to get to pick, then that's great. If the Hargrave House is wonderful. Hope, what would you do if I was gone?
Lord Grey is very nice. Perhaps Lord Grey could be my father.
I don't know that nice is the most apt term. Doting for sure. But if you like Lord Grey, I could bring it up to them.
I like when we eat the people.
Yes, that was probably a one-time thing. What did you like about it?
I like to have the people in me.
Did it make you feel close to them?
I was able to taste their memories.
Really?
It was it's as if I was there, as if I was them. What if I ate a part of you before you go? Then you would be with me forever.
We see Nox smile. I'll have to put some thought into that. But I like the idea of being with you forever.
Very good. Langfisk. You can hear laughter, chatting, the sounds of celebration going on. As you get down, you kind of go down these stairs into this like kind of root cellar, and at the far end of it, it's dark down there, but there are a couple of lanterns lit. You can hear them. You can hear them calling out, "All hail the first and final king! All hail he who shall rule hereafter! Hark! He comes! O Dispotter, O Father of Darkness, we dedicate this pantomime to your eternal rule. Hear, 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 hear." You can hear that as you're sort of kind of getting down there. What do you do?
I think there's been a lot of Cloak and Dagger, but hearing that and just all the weird shit going down, actively making sure that you can hear his boots clanking down these steps. Are they wooden or stone?
Wooden.
Wooden? You can hear just like a match light and then the blowing of a cigar, and then they cloak their spite in fair religion's name, their private spleen and malice being made to seem a high and virtuous crusade. And just stepping down and just boldly looking at this vast array of whoever's down here.
There's about 7 or 8 people around a table. They're all wearing all black. and well, except for one of them. One of them is kind of like, she has like a little flower crown in her hair, but otherwise everybody else just looks very black, very goth, you know. And they all turn, and one of them, a woman, stands up and she says, she has like very severe white face paint and red lips, and she says, "Do we have a fellow poet with us here tonight?"
Yeah, I was more into limericks and sonnets over entire plays and everything. I don't have a lot of time. I've got a little buzzing in the back of my head that says that I'm needed someplace. But I first one of you freaks decides to tell me what's going on with this King of Shadows thing, I'll let you go. The rest of you are getting your arms broken. You're getting your spleens removed. You're getting your orbitals just ruptured. So first one to speak up, you get to walk right out past me.
They're not going to give you a clue, but they are going to tell you, perhaps inadvertently, where the next performance is going to be. Maybe it's moving on from the tunnels. They'll explain that they are going to be performing. They are going to be performing in the subterranean chambers beneath London Tower. So perhaps if you'd like to join us there, you can learn more about the occluded one.
That sounds like a good time and everything, mate. Do y'all know much about a short, weed lord fella? Silver hair, angelic face?
They all kind of look at each other. Perhaps.
Yeah, I've got an inkling that you do, and I have an inkling that you put your hands on them, and not on you, there's some of your mates, then put your hands on them. So, thank you so much for letting me know where the next performance is, but I've got to work out some things with you if you don't mind. And I'm going to grab the boomerang, and I would like to narrate a scene of violence where I inflict tremendous, a scene where I inflict tremendous violence on somebody that has hurt my employer.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I think these are just a bunch of actorly kooks, but you are more than welcome to go ahead and inflict violence on them.
Yeah, I'm probably way off the mark here, but it's just...
I think I like the idea of like we cut away to Elsie and the barman, and they hear like screaming and hollering and commotion down below.
things breaking.
Yeah, and the barman wants to go check on it, and Elsie's just like, "Just let him do his work, love," and kind of pulls him back in. None of the other gold masked like patrons seem to care. They're all kind of lost in their own little worlds.
If we can flavor a little bit a blood splatter, not completely covered, but enough blood splatter and everything like that. Langfist comes back up and closes the hatch from down below, and is wiping off the boomerang with a handkerchief, and tosses it to the barman and goes, "Quite a nasty rat infestation you had down there, mate, but I took care of it."
Fabulous.
Elsie, if you will.
Indeed. Fantastic. And let's go back over to the banks of the Thames. You bumped up your roll, right? And you're keeping them at, you think you're keeping them at bay. You might even think you've
Yes.
scared them off. That's not what's going on at all.
I think I'm doing a great job, by the way.
Correct, yeah.
I do not think this is like any of Tim's doing. I think
Right.
she's doing a completely different thing over there. And I'm just like, you know, I am helping actually.
Septimus, what is the ritual that you know your coven / family are kind of ultimately always trying to get done? What are they here to do?
They're trying to put Satan in me
Oh, you know,
permanently.
it's a thing. It happens.
Yeah.
That's what they love. That's what they,
Suspect the demons, and they might as well bring the king of hell and let me, you know.
and when you perhaps your suspicions are immediately confirmed when you hear the voice of, I guess it would be, if they all have a similar kind of like name, what would be the sixth or the fifth one?
Oh, good. I have no idea off the top of my head.
Heximus or
Well, if it was it would be Sextus, or if it was the sixth, it'd be Sextus or
yeah,
something
Sextus.
like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. But anyway, you hear their voice, like, and you, it's almost like the invisible marionette string is almost like a telephone wire, right? Like you're tuning into them. You can hear them muttering their words, and you can hear them muttering their words, and you can even hear one of them say, "Is that you, dear sibling?"
Yes. Hi, hello. I've skipped a few Christmases.
We were brought here in service to another, but we're very happy to discover that you are here as well. Perhaps you should return to us. Leave Hargrave House. They are doomed. Come back home. Fulfill your purpose. Become the vessel for the Dark Lord. The Dark Lord wants to be inside you, Septimus. The Dark Lord wants to fill you. The Dark Lord wants to overflow your cup.
This is why I don't come home for holidays. I'm just going to start pulling this out of my mouth and cease communication since things haven't changed the last time we spoke, and it's been really nice. Really changing.
They never change. It's true. It's like when your mom gets on QAnon, like it's just done for forever. Fantastic. Very, very good. I'm going to give you a condition here, though. I know you just got rid of your condition, but you're going to take another one. How are you feeling right now, knowing that the Coven is back, or is here in the city?
Good old spooked.
Sounds good to me. I think we're going to start wrapping up our day phase here. I want to just get like a little check-in with each of you of kind of what you're doing at the end of the day, maybe at the end of the scene you were just in, or what you're doing as you go back to Hargrave House or whatever. And then we're going to start working on this question, I think. We'll start with Knox.
I think we see Knox up in his laboratory, kind of working on something, pulling out equipment that has gone unused since Hope was decanted from the tank. It's obviously planning and sketching something in a pad.
Langfisk is showing up wherever Septimus and Lord Grey are at to escort them back home.
I like the idea of like a group of like cowled people is trying to rub white paint on your body, and you have to kind of
Yeah.
your face.
I'll do it. I'll just like just gonna come on. I will do it.
And he's like, do it.
Just back off.
My God. I also want to note we have a clue. Me and
Oh,
Vyn
you have to
a
define
clue,
one. Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
have one unless Vyn has one.
Yeah,
prepped
go
in it.
ahead. I
Okay.
love this.
Because it's a line from Ovid's Metamorphosis that I thought might
Oh.
be apt because I'm a huge nerd. But I think before we got to this whole call and response thing, the actors were chanting this line: "The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend." And they keep repeating that last part: "The shadows of the newly dead descend." And I will obviously paste that and not make anybody remember it. But Lord Grey didn't notice that really. I'm just going to be honest with you. That would have been all Tim, because he's like feeling really proud of himself. and they're just like, they got this like stupid little prop knife. And like, as soon as Langfish shows up, he throws it on the ground, littering, and is like, oh, finally, hello. It's very gauche out here, but it's fine. And looks over at Tim to see like them pulling this fucking thing. Like, are you done?
Yeah, I think there's a couple needs to the yes.
There's a
Langfist is
what?
just gonna pull it out. Just yeah.
Oh,
Thank
There you go, mate.
Yeah, I was struggling with the link there. Thank you, Langfist. You are so helpful.
Always here at hand. Did they hurt you? Did those thespians lay a hand on you, my lord?
oh, they tried, but I handled it actually. It was fine. They weren't very good at their jobs, and I don't know what Tim was doing. Some sort of, and literally does that sort of hand gesture, like, you know,
What
a little.
is this? What is
I don't magic.
what are you trying to
spooky things?
convey here?
Your things you do. You know the things.
I find that mildly offensive.
I believe the lord is suggesting that you were doing some kind of black magic.
Yes, but not in like a you know, like an offensive way. Just like a, this is your spooky thing you do.
The lord does not mean to offend.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
I was communicating with the source of that nonsense. Surprise, his family. I will sort this out somehow.
Did you say family? Your family?
Yeah, remember the irony of that, saying, "Oh, I wish I could communicate with my family more," and then my family actually comes down and descends. And are you all right?
Oh, I'm fine. I just think maybe you need to have a discussion with them about what's appropriate,
No.
you know,
You
conduct.
Think you think I'm there? Ooh, the entire thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's worse.
well, that's unfortunate. Don't give them our address or anything. That would be fabulous if we didn't have this happening. All right.
Yeah, so it would be.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we can go now, though.
We could have left moments ago.
Well, you were okay. Fine. Whatever.
Let's check in on the question. You currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clues, which is an incredible number, and a 6 complexity. What roles are you intended to perform in the play? Here are the clues. This is going to be good for chat to hear as well, because I think you're all going to need some help with this one, because this is one of the more challenging questions in the game because it's so abstract. First clue. All mirrors are now slithering shadows or have slithering shadows in them if you have watched the play. The strange events in Hargrave House that seem to suggest another reality, that's pretty straightforward. There was a member of Parliament, flush and sweaty, having seen it and been infected by it. There's this idea of facial distortions, in particular the people at Bedlam whose faces were kind of twisted up into half comedy, half tragedy masks. Hypatia was killed for giving a terrible performance. There is this intricate sigil that had been tattooed on the back of a body pulled from the river. We had that clue that we just got about shadows lengthening and pointing in a specific direction. There's the line from Lysistrata. There is no beast more stubborn than a woman, and neither fire nor leopard is more ruthless. And then we had... is this
That's the one I made
oh, yeah,
up.
the one
I
you just did. Yeah, the actor's chanting the line, the sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way the shadows of the newly dead descend. It's a really, really complex question. What does it all mean? Maybe there's just some like basic insight we have to glean from what the roles Hargrave House has to play in the play, or what you have to play in the play. Maybe it's something Hope has to do. I don't know. But let's start examining it. Let's just start getting some big, kind of broad ideas going, I think.
I do want to slap down for our first broad stroke the other reality, Mar Hargrave House clue, like setting the stage that we are performers, quote unquote, in a play.
Oh, I love this angle.
Yeah, I also think in our night we did this in our reading of the play. Like a lot of us got read in as characters already. So
You did. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's actually a really interesting point. And I think it's also worth pointing out here that like the play doesn't it probably isn't always the same whenever it's performed.
Yeah.
And so you can add in whatever weird new scenes or things that you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Vin's direction of like the thing we have to do is like embrace this weird other reality part and like because like I like the idea of us all like having to play a role in the play because that feels very fitting. Everybody's having to give these performances. You get killed if you do a bad one. Like
Mhm.
that's a huge. I think that like sets the stakes almost. That like maybe that's why the actors keep changing is
Yeah.
because if everybody's done and like the play has terrible reviews, everybody's done like such a shit job, they all keep getting killed for it.
Well, and I mean, uh, a big portion of the company was just beaten or killed by
Oh
Langfisk, and so
yeah.
that's true.
they're going to need people to perform. I think so. So I mean, nevertheless, the question is, what roles are you meant to play, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think inserting yourself into the play won't be any trouble, especially because they are currently down a few performers. But um,
Hmm.
what does
I
that mean?
do think that there is like a taming of the shrew kind of vibe based from the Lysestra by
Mhm.
Aristophanes, sorry.
Aristophanes, yeah.
You
There
also
is no
can't.
beast more stubborn than a woman, and neither fire nor leopard is more ruthless. And so very much having I did like how like I think it was maybe Levi suggested no chaotic. It's a marriage ritual. That's the vibes I'm getting. And so maybe like a kind of like a Beatrice kind of type role for that.
Mm,
Ooh.
interesting. What might the connection to the occluded king be?
It's a joining of two houses, a joining of two lands, a noble wedding, a diplomatic wedding
You're a
between an
wedding
occluded
party.
king. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Like it's
that's
like
interesting.
that's really fun. I kind of like that idea of this sort of because I mean the reason I picked the thing about sticks was just I was like, well, this at the very least will give us a direction where the play is. It's down. But also like it's you mentioned the River Styx where we were at. It's this sort of in between. It's like the the suggesting another reality thing is like and the infection part is like these are it is the marriage ritual, but maybe it's kind of a fucked up marriage ritual. I feel there is a level of like grotesqueness to it. In the like I'm getting a very Taming of the Shrew thing, but it's like very yeah, like marrying the dead, like what Amanda just said.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you. I mean, you've got one clue here. The there is no beast more stubborn than a woman, and neither fire
Mm-hmm.
nor leopard is more ruthless. That's an interesting idea. That like that you have to that there's going to be this marriage ritual worked into the play. We have a character in the play already. Who
Mm-hmm.
is the journey woman, if we're
Yes.
suggesting that it has to be a woman that the occluded king marries. And so maybe one of you is meant to play the journey woman, but in this version, the journey woman marries the occluded king. Um, that would be really
Yes.
intriguing.
Maybe that's why Hypatia was killed. Because it's building
Oh,
to this like like her role was building towards this like big Act 3 event, and she was not keeping
oh,
up with the
oh, that's
Oh my
interesting.
God, I
Okay, so
love
her terrible
that.
performance is she was not a suitable bride for the
uh-huh.
occluded king. That's really intriguing.
Yes.
That's two clues. We're getting there.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I do like shadows lengthen and point in a specific direction, regardless of the sun's perspective. We also had an interaction, or Langfus had an interaction with a person in a sun mask in the night tap do we think that maybe, because we're getting into the heady stuff, is the sun itself a character? Is the sun itself like Helios? Is Helios this character that's like almost like a narrator, or this over
They were
this
just gold masks, but I do like the idea of it being sun masks. I think that would be intriguing, or at least
Kind of
the
like
gold
this.
mask might be suggestive of the sun, right?
Suggestive of the sun,
seen,
yeah.
certainly seen such masked individuals in the campaign.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the idea of so what's the connection to Helios then?
It's just that that like the shadows lengthen and point in a specific direction regardless of the sun's perspective. So maybe the chorus itself, there's like a chorus role that you have to play the shadows, because like the people in the black uniforms themselves are live, but then there's also the sun that as it moves, it's almost like choreography.
Oh, maybe
As
the
this-
sun is part of the wedding party, which is why the shadows aren't
Yeah.
behaving properly.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Okay.
That's intriguing. Okay, I'm digging that. So that would be that clue. So we have the journey woman is the one being married in the wedding party. We have the sun as a member of the wedding party. You've
Then we got
utilized 3 clues so far.
Yes.
the Duchess, the Prince, and the Knave.
Yes.
Oh, those are the
Perhaps.
standard characters in the play.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And
Okay.
I have a thought. I have a thought about the facial distortion as a clue with the half comedy, half tragedy. What if it's a dramedy? That's all I had. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if that's enough to use it. I just was like,
Could the
I see
sigil?
what you're saying.
Is
I see you and I hear you.
I mean, there's a duality there, and if we've have like, I think if we can lean into that a little heavier, like,
Yeah.
is there something in the
Yes.
wedding parties that somehow mirrors that duality of that half and half? Like, is half of the wedding party a certain way and half of the wedding party?
Oh, that's
yeah,
kind of
that's what I was
interesting.
gonna say.
Oh,
that's
like,
way.
it's
Well-
the emotions of a wedding.
Well, and
Oh my
also like a
gosh,
wedding
yeah.
party is divided up into 2 halves.
This is
right?
my whole
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
literally each side of the room. Like, is this a comedy for one? Is this a comedy for one half of the performers and a tragedy for the other half of the performers?
What if
Diegetically, even.
What if the big disruptive element is that the journey woman, her side of the wedding party is the comedy side, and it's so not what the play is meant to be,
Yeah.
right?
oh,
So that could be the disruptive element, like we're introducing comedy into it. That would be kind of amazing. And that'd be a good use of that clue.
oh, that's a very
I like that. I do
really
like that. Yeah.
That's really fun.
So we are
Okay.
getting there. Do any of these other clues get
I
wrapped
think,
up in any of these
did we not
ideas?
mark the strange events in Hargrave House seem to suggest another reality right at the top of that?
I think we did. That was Vin's like, this is the whole point, is
That's the
that
whole
we are
point.
actors in the play. And that is like the baseline of the
Yeah, I
scene.
think it's an easy use. Also, it's a clue that kind of like is explained away pretty easily because yes, that's kind of what's been happening. The clue made more sense early in the mystery or earlier in the threat than it does now. Because clearly, yeah. So that's you've done good. You're up to 5. That's not too bad. The sigil might be pretty easy to find a meaning to or
Yeah, I saw
assign
Levi
meaning
have
to.
something in the chat about it like being a crown shape entwined with a feminine figure. Like it's like the sigil of the wedding. Like it's almost like a,
Oh,
which is like pretty baller, actually.
oh, that's intriguing.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Could it
yeah.
be-
Maybe like maybe the sigil was like previously it was the sigil that everyone had been kind of seeing was just the indicative of the masculine or of the king, of the occluded king. But this body that was dragged out of the river, which was perhaps a woman, perhaps another performer, she has a symbol that indicates that that this like woman element or this like more feminine element is it kind of like is with the symbol now. That might be kind of cool. I don't know what the symbols would be, but
Yeah. Oh.
it kind of further backs up the whole journey woman idea of you have to play the journey woman to marry the occluded king.
Yeah, someone's getting Beetlejuiced here is kind of the energy I'm getting. Like,
Yeah, like I mean, I'd be curious just like what the original symbol was, and then what is the sort of feminizing version of it, or the feminized version of it.
Okay. After chanting the line, the sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way the shadows of the newly dead descend. Is that a very important line that has clearly been ripped off from another play that is like somebody like it's like a big like this is your only line and it is a big line that you need to have and that you gotta hit it correctly and everything, but it's clearly plagiarized? Is that I don't know. Am I working with something or am I just grasping at straws there? Who knows? The shadows of the newly dead descend. Actors chanting the line. Were they all auditioning? Were they all practicing and auditioning to have that one line? And so that's why they were all chanting it together?
It could be the wedding party.
And I wonder, like, where did you hear that clue, Lord Grey?
Which part of the clue?
The whole like sticks and the vapors. And
Oh,
the
that
sun.
was when we were like on the river itself. And it was like all these white masked people.
Oh, right. Oh, so they were chanting it. Oh, okay.
They were chanting it, but also like that was just sort of fictional positioning as to why we'd get that clue right then.
I love it. What if the wedding party has to descend into the realm of the occluded king in the way that you normally do, so they can't just be invited. They have to make the journey on the sticks. I mean, it could be as simple as that the wedding party
Yeah.
goes through the
It's kind of like the bride walking down the aisle, but
Down the
you
aisle,
all have to go
precisely.
down the
Yeah,
aisle,
yeah.
which is down, and it's like a catabasis, like it's down.
I would love for chat to chime in on what the occluded king symbol is and how the symbol is feminized. Just like
Oh yeah, we don't even know what the symbol of the we'd have to be like, that's definitely his, and also there's a lady in it now.
and now there's lady stuff.
Would the sight of this symbol cause a member of parliament to become flush and sweaty and infected?
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
I kind of like that, like this, because it also goes with Knox's whole like it's an infection thing, like, because I don't know, I'm very compelled by that concept of this being like infectious in the way medieval people thought things were infectious.
Well, it also just like, I mean, there's something really interesting going on here where like the poor occluded king is having his like perfect pristine realm of the masculine being infected by this, by this woman, and indeed this woman who mocks him, right? I kind of like the idea of the member of parliament being so flush and sweaty, that like kind of representing like that sort of symbolic like disrupting of a patriarchal structure or something, like that could be kind of cool.
It's very Hades and Persephone when you put it that way. Like
It is, but it's like
in
if
a weird,
Persephone,
in a
but it's like
different
if
way.
Persephone was like joshing Hades, right?
Yes,
Like,
exactly. I was like,
if
it's
Persephone
like
was like, like kind of taking the piss on Hades. Like I think that's what it's supposed to be kind of be,
which I kind of love that. I want that interpretation.
We've all been
of
there,
just its own
haven't we?
thing.
I think the only thing we can't really easily account for are these mirrors. Like, what do the mirrors have to do with it?
I mean, part of me. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You had something.
Oh, I was going to say, two of us went and saw this. So this is happening to two of the members of the household. Like this mirror
my God,
reality. And I don't have
yeah.
much more other than let's remember that two people are currently seeing these members. So if the question is what roles do we have to play, like, is there anything that has been included, suggested that it is distinctive for the two people who went and saw it? Like, is there any of that specifically? And we're also playing a lot with like themes of light and shadow and dark. Like, I don't feel like a mirror
That is
is
true.
too far out of the
No, I
realm
don't think
of
it
what
is.
we're doing. So like, is there something specific for Tim or Langfisk in there maybe?
Mm-hmm. All mirrors are now slithering shadows for those who have watched the play. Huh.
There's that whole thing about like the mirror reality thing. Like this is a glimpse into what everything will now be if the occluded kings
Oh,
I see Wes
yeah.
having a thought. I saw a thought on your face.
Well, it also it ties into what Theodora's doing too, as like
Yes.
utilizing transdimensional
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
like love letters to
Yeah.
trying to hop dimensions to find to kick off her sapphic romance once again with
I
Queen
know.
Victoria.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
very feminine, but not divine feminine, as you'll hear some weird dudes talk about at a bar sometimes.
Oh
I mean,
God, not in real
the
life. That's horrifying.
the mirror thing is interesting. I'm not sure that there's a connection that speaks to like what roles you're meant to play. Like it could just be I don't know, it might just be a clue that doesn't have a lot of function here.
So this is stage direction here. This is like set design and everything like that. Are the mirrors themselves actual objects the actors have to stand in front of to be utilized as a way of making it seem like there are more people on stage?
I like that. That's
It's
fun.
I might hurt
So-
myself with this pull. Who is Langfist but
I
a
got you.
mirror of Lord Grey?
Oh, okay.
And Tim being the shadows in his black magic. I'm just pulling. This is just straight out of my ass here.
Oh my
but-
gosh. And Knox having made a mirror of himself and Hope, this whole like I'm just saying. I don't think you're reaching too hard. I don't think
Are-
you're reaching too hard.
I will say, Wes, I had a strong like, is Nox just a prop master? Like, do they need extra bodies? Like, idea earlier on. So I do love kind of where you're headed with the roles you have to play. Does not necessarily explicitly in theater mean you are on stage.
That's
It can
true.
mean You are
Yeah,
doing a
that's
thing.
true.
Yeah, would Nox be utilized as like stage crew of like dressing in all black as well and maneuvering mirrors and also making sure that
Oh my
properties master and
God.
everything like that. You wear many hats. Also, I had another thought of does these three courtiers of the occluded king, which to be suggested would be his wedding party, which is the Duchess, the Prince, the Knave,
Right.
are they mirrors of the Journeywoman's wedding party?
Oh,
Are they
that's pretty good.
shadowed mirrors?
Oh, I kind of
I
like
love
that.
that.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. I think
And-
that might be.
And I
what's
love
going on
even
here.
do you need mirror, like, is a mirror required to bring this about? Like, everybody's seen these weird mirrors, but has anybody brought mirrors into the play to make this work?
I like the idea of just of the mirror of this just being a symbolic
mirror
thing,
thing.
like just to represent like that the wedding party is a sort of dark mirror. They're dark mirrors of each other, right?
Yeah.
So that means you have to have like basically a sort of like a mirrored version of the knave, the Duchess and the prince, right? And so that's interesting to me. So okay, let's review. So what we're saying is that the roles you're meant to play are this sort of like shadow wedding party, the opposites of the occluded king's wedding party. You are going to be the journeywoman's wedding party in this new version of the play where the journeywoman marries the occluded king, which will somehow disrupt or destroy his kingdom or whatever it does at the end. And part of the reason why that's the case is because you introduce these comedy elements into the performance, which is very disruptive. That basically wraps up all of the clues. I mean, there's pretty much no other. I'm looking at all the clues, and I think they all fit pretty well. I think the clues have led us to a really interesting place here.
Noises off, bitches.
I mean, it feels really good to me. If somebody wants to roll great roll +3.
Oh, Wes, you want to take this?
Oh, yeah, I reckon. Okay, let's do this. +3.
Mhm.
Yeah, we did a lot of clue pull on this episode.
Yeah, my brain is soup. Okay. +3. All right, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Okay. Not bad. That is a 5 and a 2 +3.
It's a 10.
10.
That's a 10.
Yeah. Woo!
Clean resolution. We'll handle it all in narrative. There will be no die rolls needed. But you are all going to have to think about your part in the play and what your part looks like in the play. And we're also going to be doing the unseen as well. Let's go ahead and just check in with our phases here. Boy, oh boy. Um, we've seen so much of Hargrave House already. Let's go ahead and do. Let's just do the kitchen. The kitchen of Hargrave House existed long before the rest of the house, having been part of a pub that stood on the spot before Belgravia was redeveloped to be a residential district. What do we see that reminds us of this fact?
There is a crock of like an iron crock that used to keep forever stew in it. And anytime now when you light the fire, you can still smell the rich aroma of this constantly churning and bubbling stew that no longer exists.
I think there are like well-worn paths where hundreds of feet have tread in the same place to the spot in the pub where you would go sit, where you would get drinks. It's maybe not even natural for where the kitchen stuff is now. I think it's maybe a little off because things have been moved, but there are these like worn paths in the stone.
There are notches and carvings in the wood frame within the kitchen over in like the northeastern corner where there used to be a dart board area, and you can see it's where people kept score.
There are decade, possibly century-old knives just hung on the wall for decoration to commemorate the bar.
Fantastic. If you have any Janus Mass prompts that need to be narrated, just hold them to the end of the session. For now, we're going to talk about the unseen. And for tonight's unseen, we're going to have a second problematic marriage to deal with. That would be the marriage of Charles and Nancy Belfort. The Belfort murder. This is on line 31. Charles and Nancy Belfort have been married for 10 years and they absolutely despise each other. Tonight is the night when one of them will finally snap. Everyone does paint the scene? Prompt 2 will be Tony. Prompt 3 will be Vyn. Prompt 4 will be Wes. I'd like to take a 10-minute break so you all can think about your part in the play as well as your unseen prompts. We get to see 2 blighted marriages for this night phase. So
I do have day work that I've got to do.
Oh, day work.
Day
Okay.
work.
I did
Yeah.
consider doing night work for tonight just because I thought it'd be hilarious.
That'd be fucking funny. Mine, I'm just because we don't need a clue for the active threat, is grabbing an item to add into another hunter's personal quarters. Before we head out and everything, Lord Grey will find a blood-covered flower crown from the basement down below to add to your personal covers for you.
Oh no, you took that person's flower crown.
I took the first.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
just
wear
a
it
couple, just a
tonight.
couple of socks in the face, and then like leaving. Goes, yeah, I'll take that.
I feel so sorry for those people. I don't think they had any ill intentions.
No, probably not.
We will send the resurrectionist out also, and they'll bring back an item and not have any blowback.
I love it. I love it. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll come back. We'll do this night phase.
We'll see y'all in just a few minutes.
been thinking about things.
That's what everybody heard when we came
I
back.
love it. I've been thinking about things. About the play. About the play.
About the
Don't worry about
play
it.
that we're about to do in the between. Jason, why don't you take us into the night phase?
Let's go to the home of Charles and Nancy Belfort. Everyone, as we look around the Belfort's home, how do we know their love for one another died long ago?
I think as we, even from the outside, we see that there are two mailboxes on the outside of the house, one with his name and one with her name.
There is, as we walk in, there is a dish by the door that has like little doodads, little like this is where you put your pocket watch or your spectacle. And there's two wedding rings in there, and they've clearly not been moved for a very, very long time.
Oh, there's two photo frames of a ripped wedding photo. So they have their own individual suit and dress pictures.
They communicate back and forth through notes.
Fantastic. I would like for all of you to answer another paint the scene question to kick off the play. We are in the dungeon of London Tower, and the King in Shadows play, the set dressing is typically very, very dark, very mysterious, lots of weird symbology as we saw last time. The tone is generally weird and dark with lots of heavy overtones of death and such. And yet, for this plan to work, you have to subtly insert things that break that tone. Perhaps a little silly, or things that are out of place. What have you done to the set dressing to make it that way?
Knox has been out front as people file in, handing out masks depending on where people are sitting, with half the room being over the top comedy masks and the other half of the room being dour drama masks.
Oh, it's more interactive theater because like they're part of the wedding party.
They're part of their wedding party.
You can't escape it. I'm sorry.
Well, it's fine because I'm a part of the play. No, there's a lot of like drapery. I have just so much clothing and cloth and like fine fabrics that are richly colored, and in like this like I think actually knowing that Knox has done this has like made these like those like almost like velvet rope type things out of long richly colored drapery that is like almost like splashes of paint against this really dark scene setting.
I think to push, the color further, there's fresh flowers amongst like these old vases and pots and whatnot, straight out the garden.
Langfisk has called in a favor to just get like some more orchestra members in the orchestra pit, because I'm pretty sure that their orchestra was pitiful and it was just like a minor string quartet and stuff. And so it's like, let's get some brass in there.
Mostly
Let's get
bassoon, I think.
Yeah, most of bassoon.
You hear
So let's get some
wah,
brass and-
wah, a trombone.
yeah,
Or is warming up.
trombone, yeah, and just like shoots him a glance, like take this fucking seriously. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Fantastic. Well, Tony, please narrate a scene in which Charles Belfort does something to get under Nancy's skin.
Charles goes to make his morning coffee. We see him smile briefly and then get a dour look as he notices the note that's been left for him. Party with the Williamsons tonight. We've discussed this previously. See him take out and scrawl a note. I told you I didn't want to do this. Which we see Nancy pick up around lunchtime as she's sitting and having tea, reading over it. She scribbles something down as Charles comes home from work at the end of the day. Well, if you don't want to, then you should be the one to tell them we're not coming. All of a sudden we see Charles out on the porch. Oh, I'm so sorry. We can't make it again tonight. I wanted to. You know, I love spending time with you. We have such good evenings, but you know, Nancy just she isn't a lot of fun. She doesn't like to go out. You know, I love spending time with y'all, but she prefers to just have quiet evenings at home. I'm so sorry. Maybe we can catch a beer next week. But as he goes back inside, the door is locked, and he finds himself struggling to pull it open. As he looks up, he sees a note that says, "You're the fun one?" ?
Act 1 is normally the story of the journeywoman traveling down into the underworld in order to rescue her family who were killed in a terrible accident. But instead, your version of the play sees the journeywoman going down into the underworld to be presented to her husband, the occluded king. If you are in the play, if you are a performer, what is your role in the wedding party, and how are you a inverted mirror of one of the classic characters?
Knox is the cop, but he is he does not realize this, but the outfit he's wearing is a stripper cop for a bachelorette party. He just thinks it's a weird police uniform that he found in the prop closet in back, but it is absolutely a stripper cop for a bachelorette party that he is wearing.
I like the, well, you know, this is a sort of weird timey-wimey situation. I'm sure such a thing. Yeah, absolutely. What other roles are being performed?
So this is what I was thinking about the what is the opposite of a duchess, a prince, and a knave. And I think that there's obviously the medieval way we could go with it, but I kind of like where Tony's at. I kind of like where his head's at. And I think that obviously I have volunteered to be in the play because we're all in it. But like if we're gonna do performance stuff, we're here. I'm wearing the bloody flower crown, and I have found like stuff that I think matches, but it's like a really like it's like a hippie costume is kind of what it is, like one you'd get from like Spirit Halloween, but I love the colors. And it's like an inverted duchess, like it's a commoner. Like
Oh, I see.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
there's so much, the floral is uh, otherworldly. And but it matches a lot of what Tim has found with flowers. And you know, there's a lot of like fawning over the journeywoman and kind of doing like a mirror of what he does with Hope.
Uh no actual role for Langfisk. Langfisk is not a speaking part kind of person. But you can see Langfisk is wearing if you are familiar with the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the puppeteer black singlet that is in the Dracula puppet musical, where it is a full body spandex black suit where there's just a hole where you can see Langfisk's face and the mutton chops and mustache sticking out a little bit. And then the bowler hat is sitting on top of it. There's an image right there for chat if you want to get an idea if you've never seen the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which is a full body spandex suit, and is there to move like just oh there's a bird and everything, or there's like the moon is moving and everything, like very like interpretive, but also allows him to be a little bit more stealthy if he needs to. Uh,
So we have the police officer as the inverse of the knave. We have this hippie as the opposite of the Duchess. Then who's the opposite of the prince?
I guess. Going on this theme, and the first thing that popped into my head, we have Tim as Princess Peach. Uh, so in full cosplay, down to like the wig. It's what they found. They don't know. And I think it's great.
I love it. Let's keep going. Vyn, please narrate a scene in which Nancy humiliates Charles.
Despite their conversation via note and Charles being locked out of the house, Nancy does go to the party. And she gets, as they say in old London, shit-faced. And is just gawking and telling stories and airing Charles's laundry, so to speak. And of course, it gets raucous enough, the music, the boisterousness, and such, that Charles does eventually go over to see Nancy on her bullshit. They go back and forth. The bickering is almost a show in itself, till it all boils down to Charles saying that you've never took this marriage seriously, and Nancy looking him dead in the face and saying it was always a joke.
It's such a good echo of this whole thing. I love it. Act 2. In this instance, we are not traveling with the boatman seeking to find the court of the occluded king. We are instead on a party barge floating down the Styx, ready to be delivered to the court of the occluded king. This should be quite ridiculous and offensive to everything that this cult, this court of the occluded king, I mean, it's just totally offensive and ridiculous and a little spring break. What's going on the party barge?
I don't know about y'all, but I'm a certified party boy. This is my shit. This is my shit. This is my scene. There is like I think he has actually found like some some of the floose flowers and has like tossed them around to like make them to add some more shit, and like has real ass like cocaine wine, like is straight up trying to have an actual party on stage, kisses whoever is near and will let him, like it is utterly raucous if anyone else will join in. Like that's what that's the energy he's bringing here.
There is a group of partygoers that are almost like in like mermaid costume, mermaid attire, that are swimming amongst the barge, and like and horse playing with each other and everything, playing games of chicken or that kind of thing. A lot of horse playing within the water, to represent a more like a water nymphs frolicking amongst this pleasure barge.
There are uh, 3 now cocaine wine intoxicated like younger sisters on the other wedding party side that are trying to goad Knox very very uncomfortably into dancing for them, and he does not have any concept of why or what is going on. I think all of a sudden we hear kind of mimic an echo from earlier when they were lost. We hear Hope laugh loudly at this from somewhere out in the dark of the audience.
Well, not intoxicated, but totally playing along. Tim is like making fun of that plagiarized line. Like the sluggish sticks. Why does that sound so familiar? That's so interesting. And just like clinging onto someone and rocking around.
Wes, between Charles and Nancy, one of them can't take it any longer. Please describe them murdering the other. Are they happy at the end?
We see uh very much like their home, the kitchen and everything. We see dishes piled up in a sink. We see a water basin that's filled with soapy water. We see just a mess in the kitchen. Um, and there is a note left as Nancy comes in with a bunch of groceries, a bunch of food that has been gathered for the day, and just looks around at it, just distraught. And we see a note on the table that says, "Couldn't get to choring. Much to do at the office. See you later for dinner." Later, time passes, and Charles comes home from work. Work for him, which typically ends in time at the pub with the mates, drunk. And as he stumbles in, he's expecting dinner, but he does not see dinner. He just sees a pile of dishes strewn about all over the place, sees candles lit all around the room, but no Nancy, no dinner on the table. But he does see a covered platter, a silver top over a platter. He goes to lift it, and inside there's a note, another note, as they've been known to do, pass notes back and forth, and it says, "Popped off to bed, was feeling a bit tired. Dinner's in the wash basin." He turns and he goes, "Wash basin," and walks over, drunk, hiccups, and notices there's no dinner in the wash basin. There's nothing but sudsy water. He's confused until finally there's a clang over the back of his head with a pot, and then he stumbles, and strong, rough-hewn hands that have been coated with lye from all the cleaning and burn marks from all the cooking that she's had to endure, and all this passive aggressiveness, grabs the back of his head and shoves his head into the sudsy water splashing all over the place, looking as if they're playing games with one another. He tries to grab for her, but she goes ahead and hits him again on the back of the neck multiple times until pushing him further and further, wild look in her eyes, and she's smiling. She hasn't spoken much words to him in such a long time, but finally she's letting it all out. She's letting him know how much of a terrible husband he's been, how unhappy she's been. She's just letting all of these grievances go. It's almost therapeutic and cathartic for her. Until finally he falls still. She lets go and he slips out limp. Water dredges and splashes on the floor. She looks at him. looks off, walks over to the oven, opens it up, and there's a nice chicken with some asparagus and potatoes, and she sits down and she grabs his tobacco contain pouch with rolled cigarettes and she lights one for herself and just smiles and tucks in.
The purpose of the play, The King in Shadows, was to allow the occluded king, the real occluded king, not the actor, to enter into your world. But your mockery in the play, your mockery of the occluded king, your false, buffoonish wedding ceremony has allowed you to enter into the realm of the occluded king. The stage falls away. The audience falls away. The actors fall away. It's just the four of you, not in your silly costumes. Inside a vast, dark, obsidian chamber, illuminated by a single shaft of light, is the throne of the occluded king. He sits upon the throne. His once magnificent velvet robes are now shredded and decayed. His beautiful ruby crown is dull. He is withered, he is twisted. He is so small that he looks almost like a child sitting on the throne. His arms resting on the armrests and his body slinking down. His head dipping, the crown barely staying on. He manages to lift his neck up just long enough to look at all of you. And he says, "Very well then. Which one of you will be the master of death? Which one of you delivers the killing blow to the occluded king?"
Can I throw
This
a
feels
pitch?
Knox-worthy. Yeah.
No, here's what I would love. I think after he says that, we just hear a little giggle as a hand bursts through his chest from behind, as hope tears apart the occluded king.
End night phase. The King in Shadows is resolved. Congratulations. And right on time. In the nick of time. Let's go to the dawn phase. We'll take care of night work and day work and such next time. Let's instead just go straight to rewards. You are entitled to rewards for resolving this threat. Let me find them.
Rewards, rewards.
And I'll read them aloud for the viewer's sake. You can take the Mask of Comedy. Narrate a flashback to a time that you were ridiculed for defying the expectations of a social role you occupied. You can take the Mask of Tragedy. Narrate a flashback to a time you took pleasure in the suffering of someone else. These are masks you have available to mark if you need to. You can take a featureless gold mask from the Night Tap and add it to your personal quarters. Your script has been rewritten. Unmark a mask of the future or clear a permanent condition or a memento from the investigation. one of you can choose that if you
These
wish.
are intense.
Yeah.
These are really good
Wow.
rewards. This is some of the best work that Alex did on this.
Yeah.
Was
It's
the
really good. Yeah.
rewards. Yeah.
These are really good rewards, Alex.
Who wants what?
I'll make it easy. I'll take the featureless gold mask from the night tap. I think that's very fitting.
You would have been able to grab that one of those.
Yeah. And I'll let y'all fight over all those good ones.
I'll take a memento from chat if they want to.
Mask of Comedy, Mask of Tragedy. What was the other one?
Your script has been rewritten.
It sounds like Vyn wants a memento from chat, so chat, get on it.
Get on it, chat.
Get on
All
it,
right,
chat.
Tony, we get to duke it out. Which one do you want?
I mean, all the other three are good. I mean, I think I'm the only one with a permanent condition currently marked.
Oh my God, yeah, you're the most beloved.
Yeah. I could be least beloved. I could be less beloved again. Yeah, I'll rewrite my script.
Love
Nice.
this. Well, then, I obviously have to take the Mask of Tragedy, narrate a flashback to a time you took pleasure in the suffering of someone else.
I was like,
That could-
either one of those would be particularly good or frightening for either one of us. But yeah, it felt
Yes,
very,
right?
it felt very Lord Grey.
But Lord Grey would never do that.
Never! I would never.
Never.
Never, never.
Okay, we have some. Amanda has offered the Occluded King's Crown. That would be pretty amazing.
Holy shit.
Pretty
A
fucking
playbill from the play. Free popcorn forever. From the basement of London Tower, apparently. No, I think the crown or the playbill is a really awesome idea. Oh,
I love
Levi
that.
offers up a symbol akin to the one that we described. We actually never got the.
I mean,
What's those on the
people
party
threw
boat?
pomegranates and pomegranate flowers out, which felt very, very
Yeah, that's
solid.
pretty good.
And
Yeah,
so-
I'm kind of into that. Yeah. I'm kind of into that.
I'll take the Occluded King's Crown, though. That's perfect.
It's pretty
So
dope.
Ooh.
Yeah.
cool.
All
That's really cool.
right, Timmy.
Fabulous. And everybody else is sorted, right?
Yep.
Sorted.
Let's go to questions. Did you answer a question? Yes. Did you resolve a mystery? Yes. Langfist, did you get an echo in the night?
Yes, with the mermaids frolicking around the pleasure barge and Nancy and Charles frolicking in the wash basin.
Very
Yeah.
good. I love it. Did you ensure Lord Grey got credit for your triumphs?
No, not yet. I think I could say that for next time.
You did engage in a, well, I don't know about petty reprisal, but you certainly engaged in a reprisal of someone who angered your employer, so you can certainly take that. Knox, did you get an echo in the night?
Yeah, the surprise kill from behind by.
Oh, yeah, that
by
was really
Hope,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. Did you have a conversation with Hope while no one was looking? Yes, you
I
did.
did.
Did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've
did.
experienced? You did. Did you teach Hope a lesson about what it means to be human?
What do we? Oh, we talked about parents and that adults can't always be fucking.
Oh, yeah,
fucking
that's true.
trusted.
Yeah. I thought it was a really good scene too. You're almost maxed out on advancements, right?
I am. Yeah, I mean, technically, I am maxed out. I just haven't taken my last advancement because I hadn't marked a lot of things yet. So that's the only one I have left. Yeah.
Fantastic. Lord Grey, did you experience an echo in the night?
No, I don't think so.
Did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
Honestly, I don't think there was like a strong theme there, like a strong enough one to justify that, unless it was like appreciating the artistry of this bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know if that really came
don't
through.
think that counts.
Did you let someone touch you and then make them pay a price for doing so?
Let them is a strong word. I wasn't like, come here, baby. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah, I think it counts though, because I think it's in the spirit of the thing.
Okay.
I'll give it to you. Septimus, did you experience an echo in the night?
It wasn't intentional, but it may be a little bitty bit stretch. Being drunk on the boat and then Nancy at the party.
Oh yeah, I'll take it. Did you perform a ritual? Yes, you did. Did you make love to a human in order to forget the darkness?
No.
Very well. And with Dawn questions answered, does anybody have a Janus Mass prompt they want to do? Or do you want to just wait till next time?
I'll save mine.
I didn't mind.
Then that just leads us to stars and wishes for tonight. Our last it's basically our last night phase because the Theodora encounter, I don't put it under the day and night phase rubric or structure. So,
Jason, you did something
congratulations.
really subtle really early on, and it was masterful, and I meant to write it down, and I didn't. It was really good, and I just want you to know you're really good as a
Well, thank you.
It'd be way more helpful if I had written it down, but I didn't. It was something really subtle, but it was just a very simple.
We were doing that listening party earlier today for the Ain't Slade podcast
Yeah.
for the most recent episode, and I did a thing in that I was even like, holy shit, that was like
It was really good.
high level GMing, and I think it went over everyone's head. Like I don't think anybody realized what I was doing there, but anyway, I noted. Thank you.
I'll come back with another one, but I just wanted to let you know I forgot one also too.
I'm a yapper. Everyone knows that, but I didn't want to interrupt Tony if Tony was going to do other things.
No, that's all. That's it for right now. I'm gathering
Okay.
my thoughts.
Beautiful, gorgeous. Jesus Christ. Wow, everyone. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. I probably forgot some because everything was so good. Holy shit. Dual star for Tony and Jason. That conversation with Hope and Knox. Holy fuck, y'all. Wow.
She likes to eat the people.
She likes
That
to
was
eat the
so
people.
yeah.
Jason, you didn't have to go that hard, and I'm so glad you did. That was so cool. And Tony, the opening of what would you do if I wasn't around? That's such a strong opener. That's so strong. That was so cool. Like I love every scene that y'all have with Hope and Knox because it's always so intense and interesting, and like it's like the same thing with the Charles backflash, like flashbacks, not backflashes. Wow. It's like I'm watching a little TV show and I just get to like sit here and like, oh my God, you two clowns, quit it. I see you two. Clownery. Speaking of clownery, I adore you all, but Wes, that your entire just deciding to just beat the shit out of all the actors is that was really an entertaining choice. I really loved that. Thank you for the bloody flower crown. Oh my God. But it's just Langfisk is such a fascinating person. Such a fascinating person. I loved your entire thing in the night tap with Elsie, right? It was
Elsie, yeah.
Elsie. Fucking fabulous. Fabulous. The everything about that was really good. The getting the extra beer right before you left.
Mhm.
Your decision, just a star for everyone's decisions of outfits, but your decision to, instead of it being like a person in the play, you're in that shitty little like Dracula spandex onesie.
I just want to hear Wes sing that song now.
Yeah.
Die, I can. I love Dracula, the puppet musical.
That's our next play that we're all going to put on because now we're all actors.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Then the decision to put the marionette string in your mouth is so not anything that would have entered my brain. Your mind works in such a fascinating way. I fucking love it. That was so cool. Like
Before
that
I
was
forget it, too, can I interrupt?
Oh,
Before I
of course,
forget
I mean,
it,
always.
what I have a star for that too, and what I loved about that moment was we had just been talking about this like idea of the Gossamer realm and like
Yes.
mastering the Gossamer realm, and then we had this scene of like this invisible, which I described as a Gossamer marionette string, and so it was kind of fun that you
That
like
may
kind of,
have that may have been it also too. When you just threw in that little like it was a
yeah,
Gossamer
it,
marionette stream. It was
well,
a very
well,
good simple touch.
and I kind of felt like what I loved about it, it just felt like Vyn and I were like kind of like picking up
Vibing.
what each were laying down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it felt really cool. I really was into it.
Yes. Oh my God. That was like, yeah, thank you, Jason, because that is exactly like the vibe. It was like you and Vyn and Tony were all like picking up what each other was putting down to make this really cool Rites of Salt and Smoke. And I really loved your little conversation with your siblings and just being like, oh, it's my family. Don't worry. Like, I was like, that's so, what a choice. What, I love our vulnerable scene. It's always fun being a scene with you. I love it so much. It delights me to no end. Septimus is adorable, and the Princess Peach, the stripper cop. I could go on. I could go on. Jason, this is such a like. I love the way you run this. It's so cool. Thank you for leaning into our bullshit with inserting future items and encouraging it. Even I love the pacing. I love the NPCs. Like
I
I
knew
said,
I
I
was going to bring it
love.
back around. Like
You did
I
it.
knew it was going to end. So I was like, that's fine. Do your silly
It's
stuff. That's what we're doing. That's
do
what we're
your
going to do.
silly little
Yeah.
thing. You get to meet the occluded king later. Just what a fucking last thing to go out on before we have to deal with the mastermind. A really cool way you've paced this entire series, and I really, really love it. I love the all the little like little things you drop in that are references to other Carved from Brindlewood things, other parts of this game. It's just, it's really, it feels very lived in and rich, and I love it. And so just 10 out of 10. Love this shit.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to B Narr, your little classical theater little nods and everything like that. As a fellow theater nerd, it's always great to like I can throw out some Tartuffe and like I'll see you catch it, and then like you'll also throw out some other stuff. It's always great to like kind of fall back on that. And like see that happen in real time. It's some of the things that I really like about this system and like this game in specific is like you can have little highlights with other players like that. Um, Beautiful utilization of like Jason, you were saying of you and Vyn vibing off of each other. Vyn, of you like really showcasing like how useful like painting the scene and that collaborative storytelling that the Between brings into it, because then you can take that and then you're able to mechanize it, utilizing like your own move with it, and it makes it more effective, and it feels it like lived in, and it feels the action, instead of you just being like, yeah, I do a ritual. You're like, no, I take the string and I put it in my mouth and I try to talk through it, and it's like weird stuff that like a vessel would do, and you're like, okay, freak. Also, I like the whole build up that we've slow build up, because like we haven't had a long time with Tim as we have with like some of the like some of our other characters, but Tim slots really in with like really well into this group, and like seeing the little things that you and Jason are working together to build up the coven. And I like the idea of how like each of the members of the coven are like they're all seven like siblings, and they all have names that suggest that in that different way and everything. And I think that's like a very cool thing, and it adds into that thing of like Tim being the seventh son of a seventh son, that whole thing, or just a seventh son. I don't know how deep your seventh sonness gets into, um but like I think that's very interesting, like storytelling that we're getting able to see over such a short time, but it doesn't feel like it's being shoved down our throats, which is great. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but you're doing it in such a natural way. Um uh Tony, I really adore your scenes with, and like you and Jason, your scenes playing off each other with Hope. And like as somebody that like loves cannibalism, and I love to incorporate cannibalism as a theme, and like, is cannibalism, is it queer cannibalism, is it a thing that's like the transferring of memories and the transferring of like carrying something on and everything like that, let me eat you to take on you throughout this life journey that I have. And that is such a very interesting thing that like a lot of people are normally like, oh, let's not talk about that because that's like that's very taboo. That's too taboo for my
What you're
table.
saying is Army Hammer is like the ultimate ally. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My fellow timeshare owner, Army Hammer down in the Bahamas. No, but like, I think that there's like such like a way to approach it in a way that's like very respectful, where it's not just schlock and horror and everything like that. Which there's nothing wrong with that. I love trauma films and that stuff, but like, I think that like it's something that is like so rarely explored at tables because people are like, oh, that's too much for me, and like seeing it handled in such like a positive way, almost like not it's not like shameful, but it's like this is like I'm not telling people to go out and eat people, but like it's just different. It's different to see it approached this way. But I mean, if you want to go out and eat people, as long as you have their consent, then that's okay. Who am I to stop you, you know? But yeah, uh, wild stuff that we're getting into, and like all that, seeing how we're tying things into from like the very first session into this, and like how we've kind of built the story and everything. It's just very cool. I love this game. This is one of my favorite games ever, and so like being able to like play it with like a group of people that kind of like are in it and that they're playing into it, and we're getting all these little hints from like the Kickstarter, like, or the Kickstarter, the backer kit, pardon me, 1,000 apologies, but like we're seeing things from like the other books incorporated into it, and like we're seeing game design happen, and we're seeing like mechanics being utilized that haven't been utilized before. We're seeing them happen. It's just a very cool feeling, to kind of see this whole life process of this
You're doing it
game.
live, right?
Yeah, we're doing it live, and which
Yeah.
is such a cool thing. And like Tony got to talk to Rowan about, from Rascal News, about this kind of stuff, about like the actual plays that we do, and like it's very cool to be a part of it, to experience it. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. And then like a wish. I don't know. If we come to ends, may they be noble and thematic. And if we do not come to an end, may we find peace at the end of the path. But I know that that shall not be the case for most of us. Certainly not Langfisk. Yeah.
You're going down with me, baby.
I have a star for
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead. I so many things to star. I really I one of the things I think is so interesting. I don't know if this is a star, but I think it's just it's just an observation. I run this differently on stream than I do on my regular YouTube sessions, and certainly like any other kind of like recorded actual play. And it's the effect of having chat, and the effect of like of like knowing that people are watching us in real time has such a really different and profound impact on how I think about the game and how I run the game. I think that, and I think that like my GMing is like a little different, and my reactions to the players are a little different, knowing that we're in front of an audience, and it's cool. It's a very cool thing. I feel like I'm more inclined to just kind of let things happen and see where they go, you know, in this environment. And so like I said, I don't know if it's a star or a wish. I just think it's just something that I've been kind of thinking about a lot as we've been doing this campaign. But actual stars and wishes, the scene between Hope and Knox was really wonderful. I loved to play it. I felt a little disturbed by it. It was a really disturbing scene.
Yeah, it was a lot.
In a lot of ways. It was really like a bizarre scene. There was also something like really weird because we had been talking about like fathers, like that had been like a major like she misunderstood the nature of like fatherhood, and then we were talking about fathers, but then we were talking about like eating of my body, and then we were talking about like there was just so many like weird like pseudo religious things going on, and it was all a little bizarre, and like and it was a great scene. It was super super creepy. Star, as I'll second all the stars, I've already mentioned it, but like the marionette strings thing was really really fun. Just loved that, Vyn. It was so great. And I find Vyn, it's really interesting because this is the first time we've ever played together this campaign, and one of the things I find really exciting about how you play role playing games is you do so much with so little. Not so little, that's not the right way of putting it, but like you're able to like pack in a lot into like small gestures and small moments, and just like small space actions, and I find that so like fascinating. Like I find that just such a I don't know, like it makes me feel like I want to like because when I'm like really like in my when I'm really like going, in my role play, I want to like I want to be like lugubrious. I want to be over the top. I want to make my noises. I want to do all my nasty shit that I do, and I love all that stuff. But the way you role play makes me want to like find places to like pull it back, and to see what I can get done in a smaller space. And so I just really love that. I really enjoyed the scene with Lord Grey and the puppets. I thought that was really fun. It was very humorous. It was really funny to see Lord Grey think that Lord Grey's being like Mr. Badass, but like wasn't at all. It was really enjoyable. And yeah, I just thought that was really amusing scene. It was really great fun. And I also kind of really enjoy Langfisk's relationship to Elsie. That was really enjoyable too tonight. There's a part of me that wants to see the Langfisk and Elsie show, you know? And I think what I think is really fascinating about Elsie is I feel like the relationship between Langfisk and Elsie is what Langfisk's life would be like if not for Lord Grey, right? You know, like I get that distinct impression. And so yeah, just a lot of stuff to really, I really loved it. I love when I get to put a nasty old ghoulish king on a throne in a remote
Yeah.
subterranean place. So I was really happy I got to do that. That's like one of my favorite tropes in fantasy. And so happy to get that in there. And Star for echoing the first episode of Penny Dreadful, right? Like when, spoilers for the first episode of Penny Dreadful, when the monster tears apart the first creation. That's exactly how Hope destroyed the occluded king. And also just the themes and symbolism of that as well. Like just this whole idea of like master of death and life and all that stuff. It was really great. Just really cool session.
I want to hop right on Jason's stuff about Vyn real quick because there was a moment where, and you do this a lot, like you'll insert a beat in between somebody else's like pause, and you always time it really perfectly. So there was one with Tim where you were just like turns beat red, like while B was narrating, right? Like there's this really strong, and like in game design, like people always think it's hard to write a lot in game design. It's not. It's really easy to write a lot. It's hard to be concise, and so things like you know, turns beat red, like in that pause tells us exactly where your character is at while, you know, Lord Grey is engaging more deeply. And then you came back in, but we have a sense of where your character has been in that moment before that. And it is those little beats that are really strong. Also, I want to put the Gossamer strand in my mouth and talk to the people on the other end like it's a telephone is like really good OSR thinking also too. Like it is like this, I don't know exactly what to do in this situation, but I do know this basic piece of science that theoretically could work. And what if I apply it to a metaphysical reality instead? Like really, really good. But no, like I do want to echo like those a lot of those small choices you make. And we've talked a lot about like, it's fun. And I feel like more so with Tim, we do get to see this really great like movement between these really tight little moments, and then sometimes you'll just open up and go kind of hog wild, and there's very clear like triggers on where Tim is at based on some of how you are playing them in that moment, and I really love getting to see it. The Star for having the same exact conversation with me and Amanda within a few minutes of each other in chat for entirely stuff that we won't bring up on the stream, but it was really great and funny to have that. But I love the classic bit, and I don't like it's so funny of like Lord Grey tries to get physical while being wildly incapable of doing so and ends up totally fucked up. Like it doesn't happen every time, but it is always so good that it is for whatever it's like. I hope we get a Mask of the Past at some point in time where we're like, why does Grey think that they are capable of beating the shit out of people when they are consistently just trashed every single time? Like I don't think you've made a vitality roll and gotten above a 6 at any point during this.
And I have a high vitality score. The dice have just decided I'm shit at using it.
I know it's so funny.
You also pick every time where it's inconvenient for me to just show up with my person Friday, where I'm just like, I'm in the middle of something, and I'm like, I have to.
I mean,
you have to stay doing what you're doing.
Took that because of you getting the shit beat out of you so many times, and still it can't use it most of the time.
Yeah. Because I'm like, we haven't gotten the night tap, and I want us to go to the night tap before.
Yeah. Wes, I
Yeah.
think like the whole scene in the night tap was great. I really loved I loved the relationship there also too. Right, the interaction that you and Jason had like in that moment for Elsie, like so it was really strong. But also like I will see, especially on stream, a lot of times like people talk about like, oh, sex work is real work, or trying to give people like give dignity to people who engage in sex work, which is great, without saying that you did a lot of that in the scene and you just did it, which is I think more important than making commentary on it a lot of time, even though I'm doing so right now and potentially cheapening the moment. Like the way y'all ran that scene, I do want to point out like that.
Yeah.
That really is about showing the dignity like that is inherent in that type of work and in folks who engage in that work, just like all people have. So like it was really great to see the strength of that scene and that play out, and I really love that. And it was a really subtle piece. That was great. Jason, I think there was a piece that was the Gossamer Strand thing, but there have been, like I said, just a lot of little moments. And you've talked a lot about like how you process things. I love hearing you share about it. I think it's one of the things that makes your game so strong is you do what I think a GM section should be, which is how do I run this game and how do I set you up to be able to run this game? Not necessarily the way that I do, but with the tools that I constantly do. And it's really fun to see you flexing those. Because I was even thinking about it today. Like you mentioned, like have you run a game where the child has been made successfully before? Because you mentioned that doesn't happen often for you at all.
I think it's the first time in a campaign I've run.
Okay, that's what I was like. So,
Yeah.
but watching you seamlessly slide into that, and like I've seen you do, kids before, like and present them, like, but also just watching you get to experience something new in your game and slide seamlessly into it and seeing the choices you make. That's a really enjoyable thing.
Yeah, I really
do.
enjoyed that actually. I was actually a little concerned when you decided to bump up the roll to like have the child be in Hargrave House because I knew that I was gonna have to play the child, and I was like, well, there's another character I'm gonna have to be playing and a lot. And I've actually been really happy with how it's gone. Yeah, it's actually added like, well, and I was also worried like because the child move is viewers know that or followers of mine know that the child move is one of the core moves that I'm reworking for the next edition of the game, right? And because there's things about it I like and things about it I don't like, and one of the things I've always been a little nervous about is there going to be enough for the mother to do thematically and storytelling wise if the child is just there, like if it's done. And I think we've gotten away with it, like because I think we've gotten away with it just because you and I are good role players.
Yeah.
But I want to find a way to make sure that like if groups that the text will support that as well, So yeah.
I mean, I also will say I was building the weirdest fucking child I could think of, like putting werewolf blood and other stuff in them, so that we could have the weirdest baby possible.
Yeah.
Whenever it happened. And I really I love it. I also it's been fun also, not just for you and I to be able to pass like the roll back and forth into play scenes with each other, but like even things like, which I forgot to do tonight, B, if you want to tell us what Hope was wearing in a minute, you're absolutely welcome to. Like being able to have shared elements for the household and look at those relationships.
Yeah, I think it was really wise to like kind of distribute responsibilities and tasks for Hope. I thought that was really good.
But it also is like, so Chaotix in the chat saying, I think that time it happened before the child became the orphan pretty quickly afterwards. And it does like, there's even a point where it was like, now that my child's baby's alive, I'm just happy to die a little bit with Nox also too.
Yeah.
Like, but it also brings parental necessities oftentimes bring up mortality in a very different way. And I think I think the playbook explores that really well and very naturally. Because after the child is born, you're like, okay, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing now?
Yeah, like what's the point now? Yeah. But I think we've gotten there though.
It's been really it's just been fun to explore. So I think that's kind of like a big, broad like star, also too. I do want to call it like I'm a T-Rex. Great moderation tonight with a lot of things also too. Chat really strong. Chaotic gave a really great item earlier that I will probably never get a chance to use, but I also was already like sticking away in the back of my brain. A lot of great interactions, a lot of really great enthusiasm from chat tonight. All chat's always great, but like there was just some, like to echo what Jason said, like the chat group that we have showing up on a regular weekly basis also too, it has really been another conglomerate character in the way that they've spoken into it. It's been really enjoyable. And I think, again, it's really great to see CFB games really kind of in that space because it does bring a very distinctive aspect into it. And so.
Agreed. You're here.
Okay, I'll make this quick.
Going across the screen. I know we've said it like 4 million times. Tony, Knox and Hope. What a moment. Just, I don't know. Daddy issues where just erased with a father and child talking about cannibalism. I've been healed. It was just such a good moment. Like, I can't say anything that hasn't been said. Wes, I continue to loathe you. I can't stand you. I need to get you off the internet so I don't have to see your fucking face again. Yada, yada, yada. I'm throwing money at you tomorrow, so yeah, fucking hands down.
B. I love Lord Grey and Tim C so much.
These fucking dorks who can't pack a punch and find themselves in situations. They're just so good. Your reactions are also the best. I mean, again, everything's been said, and I love this table so much. Just another dual star, and I guess a thank you for you, Jason and Tony, for pointing out like my role play style. It comes from people talking too much and taking up space, and I want to give people time to do their things. So I've been trying to get out of that and take space and languish on words and stuff, but it just hasn't happened yet. And to see what I see as a shortcoming being told as a strength, it helps. So
Oh, it's not at
thank
all.
you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
very
I think
good.
everybody here like appreciates like what you do in that. Like I think it's a skill to like do something really impactful in a small space. So,
100%. Absolutely masterful.
But sliding back, Jason, your NPCs, they never fail. Like they are just 900,000,000,000% amazing and just as fleshed as we are and just fun to interact with. Which I say every time, but it doesn't stop being true. Wishes, I mean, let's get awful. Let's be the worst till the very end. I can't wait to be wrecked and or survive. But what is survival? Yeah, that's me. That's it. Great job, everybody. Round of applause.
I want to give a star for the answer a question also. I think that the King in Shadows question and probably the Waitley camera question, they're like the two hardest questions in the game. They're very, very hard. And I thought we all did a really good job at getting to a really cool answer for the answer a question for the King in Shadows. So yeah.
Yeah. It was fun watching you folks who had a deep Greek mythology phase and were theater kids all come up with a really great answer.
Who,
This one's for
me?
you.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
Um,
Just 1-2 punch.
and I also think, Jason, again, like I do like one of the things you do sometimes even during those is like drawing a hard line, which is like like as a keeper, but I also think it gives permission to other people to be like, oh, I don't agree with that. I think that's one of the hardest things to do, and you do it in a very like gentle but firm way that I think is also really great. So, cool, awesome. Well, we'll be back next week. We're gonna keep on playing. I'm really excited as we kind of head into the last little bit of all of this. But if you've missed any sessions, want to get caught up on things, you go check all those out over on our YouTube channel. But if you're interested in the Between, if you want to find out more, if you want to follow what's happening right now, the best thing you can go to ttrpg.link/BetweenGame. It's linked down in the show notes also too. That's going to kick you over to the backer kit page. Jason, before we pop off, tell people a little bit about the backer kit in case they are just catching it now.
Well, one thing is if you have ever backed with any regularity a Kickstarter project, there's a really solid chance you already have a BackerKit account. If you've backed one of ours, you definitely have a BackerKit account. So go follow along there. Pledging there will be just as easy as it would be with any other site, in case you've never backed a BackerKit project. But yeah, very excited to we talked about it a little bit last time. this is going to be the version of the Between that benefits from this game being out in the world and at probably hundreds of tables at this point over the last 3 years. And we have taken so much learning and knowledge of just watching people play the game, talk about the game, us playing and talking about the game, to make what I think is, I mean, really, truly, like Brindlewood Bay started this ball rolling down the hill, but I think the Between is a real paradigm shift in what a role playing game is and can be, and I just hope that you all will come take that journey with us. So yeah,
Right now, you can join about a little over 1,400 other backers and being ready for
trying to get to 2,000. I'm thinking about releasing the Artful Dodger inspired playbook early if we get to 2,000 pre-launch backers.
Pre-launch goal. I love it.
Maybe I'm thinking about it. We'll see. I might have more to say about it next week, but we'd love to get to 2,000 before we launch. That would be amazing. So
let's
Do it.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time to get there, but I would love to see us at 1,600 before we play next time. Let's see if we can get about 150 more backers in the next week. I think we can. Yeah, go tell all the people. Everybody's saying the playbook's really good. There's a link to the launch announcement down below, but again, also in the show notes description, wherever you happen to be watching this. Really excited to be back next week. If you are in New York and you're going to be at FlameCon this weekend, come say hi. Otherwise, we will see you soon as we will be coming back to play The Between.